Hi, this is Suraj, and this is your first lesson in web development. We'll be doing HTML. So a little about this course. This is an intro to teach you about HTML. This is a beginner series, and what I intend to offer is the convenience of quickly learning HTML for developers, those who are just starting out. There are tons of free material here on YouTube and on Coding Camp websites. There's also original documentation on the website. You'll find blogs and books, so there's a lot of content. But as a newcomer, if you're doing this yourself, you want to get through this HTML stage as fast as possible so you can move on to the next step. So the purpose of this is to save you time. Now, what we'll do in this course, we'll learn from start to finish everything important about HTML so that you can create your own HTML projects. We will, by the end of this course, do at least 2 projects. I plan on keeping each lesson within 10 minutes, so it's easy for you to digest, and this way it'll be easy for you to get a good understanding of your progression. Now, without any further delay, let's begin our first lesson on web development with HTML. So, first of all, what you'll need. Okay, you will need right now some hardware. Okay, so you will need a laptop. Okay, you will need a computer. So that could be a laptop or a desktop with a physical keyboard to type on. So phones and tablets will not do. You could get some apps for your phone or tablet, but that's only to brush through your coding knowledge in your free time. Because for the most part of your development, you are going to need a keyboard and maybe a mouse even. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's Windows, Mac, or Linux. I use a Windows laptop. You don't need a lot of computing power for a beginner's web developer series. But if you want to know what specs to get, you can get away with any cheap laptop that's an i3 processor or an i5 with about 4 to 8 gigs of RAM. That's about it. Any cheap laptop will do. To develop your code, you will need a text editor. You can write basic HTML in Notepad or TextEdit, but for the sake of development, you will be required to switch to a proper text editor later as things get complex. So a couple of popular ones are Visual Studio Code, Atom, Sublime, Notepad++. It's up to you what you want to use. You can check out how-tos and walkthroughs on YouTube on how to use them and what they look like, so you can make a decision on what you want. I used I'll be using Notepad in the beginning, and then eventually switch over to Visual Studio Code in later lessons. Again, it doesn't matter what you choose because the HTML you write remains the same across the board. Finally, you'll need a web browser. When you run your code on a web browser, you can see what it looks like. So you can use Chrome, Firefox, Opera, Safari, Edge. I use Chrome. Also Chrome seems to be the one with the greatest and fastest support for newer technologies. So that's why I use that. You can check that out at caniuse.com. If you go to caniuse.com, you can see that Chrome gets a score of 344, Firefox 324, Safari 291, Edge 263. This is basically a website that tells you how much of the latest technologies a web browser supports. So you can see Chrome is with the highest score, so that's why I stick to Chrome. Alright? Then a couple of things that you will need later on, but we don't need to get into right now, is an image editor like Photoshop to edit your images, basically. A version control system like Git. These are just some things that you need to know, but you don't need to use right now. An FTP program like FileZilla. FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. You will basically be using this kind of program to upload and manage your website files on the server once you've actually made them. Then you'll need an automation system like Grunt or Gulp to perform repetitive tasks like minifying code and running tests, but you won't need that for a long time if you're just beginning with HTML right now, that is. So you don't need to worry about all this stuff. Eventually you will be using templates, libraries, and frameworks to save up your development time using lesser code, while the detailed code is being handled by these libraries and frameworks in the background. So templates and JavaScript libraries and frameworks help you to write lesser code, while the actual detailed code happens in the background. So this is what you need. Next thing you need to do to begin working on your website is to plan. Okay, so first thing you need to do is sketch out a layout. So let's do that. Let's sketch a layout. It basically looks like this. This is our website, and we have a picture over here. This is a picture, and we have two text. We have two paragraphs over here. My amazing website, and then over here it says this is awesome. So this is the current plan that we're going to execute. Okay, it's a very basic website just to get you started off in the first tutorial. So that's what it looks like. The second thing you need to do is you need to collect images and videos that you're going to use on your website. So what we'll use is an HTML icon, and this is what it is. Okay, so later on we will save this. We will save this in our project folder and then use it. The next thing you need to do is you need to select a color theme. There are many websites that you can use to pick color schemes and themes. We'll also see how to select the font, but these two things we'll keep for later. Right now we've sketched the layout, and we'll also focus on getting an image so that we can actually work on our project. Okay. Finally, before we begin setting up our first HTML file, we need to understand how to keep your files. So first of all, make a separate folder for each of your projects. Okay, give it a separate, give it a short descriptive name, and ideally it should just be about 1 to 3 words, not more. It should just enough to be short, just enough to be descriptive. Okay. Keep all your file and folder names in lowercase because web servers are case sensitive. So if you miss a capitalized alphabet sometimes, it could not read. Okay, so just to keep everything simple, keep all your files and folders in lowercase. Separate words in your file names with dashes. Don't use spaces or underscores. Okay, never use spaces. Browser servers and programming languages, they get confused. So basically only use dashes. How to keep your folder structure? Index.html is the name given to your main homepage HTML file. It is stored in the root of your project folder. Okay. All your images should be collected in an images folder inside your project folder. Eventually we will learn how to create CSS styles, so all those styles also will have to be kept inside their own folder called styles. All JavaScript files will be kept inside a scripts folder. Okay, so let's do that. First of all, let's create a project folder. Okay, I'll come to new, create a folder. We'll call this my project. Okay, we'll create the folder structure, images. We're not going to be using most of these folders right now. So we have an images folders, we have styles, and we have another folder called scripts. We won't be using the scripts and styles folders right now. This is just for you to understand. Okay, and as you can see, we've kept all our names in lowercase. Now, back to here. How to reference files. Files in current folders are referenced by just a dot and /. Files in subdirectories are named, are provided by the dot /, then the subfolder's name, followed by the image. So let's actually see how this works. To write your HTML, you can basically do it in a text file. All you have to do is just open up a text document. We'll call this index. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll insert an image. But for that, let's download this image. We'll save image as. We'll navigate to that project, my project. We'll keep it inside the images folder, and we'll save this file as HTML5. HTML5. Yeah. Okay. And click save. Now if you look inside the images folder, you'll see here's the file. Alright. Now you can get so let's go back into here and use that image. So we do that by doing this. Image source is equal to / inside the images folder, we want the HTML5.png file. Alt is equal to HTML5 logo. You don't need to worry about what this is right now. Just know that this is how we do it. This is just to show you how addresses are formed. This is the HTML5 image is inside the images folder. Okay, this dot / means your index.html file. This path is relative to your index.html file. Okay, so we'll save this and let's open this file in Chrome. Okay, so I drag this onto Chrome and you'll see that this has been rendered. I mean, it's not, I mean, only the text has been displayed. The file hasn't been rendered. If you want to render the file, what we'll have to do is, well, let's close this up. If you want to render the file, what you'll have to do is change the extension. The browser understands HTML, so when it gets an HTML file, it will look at what's in it and render it. Okay? Index.html. If we open this now, you'll see our logos displayed. Okay? Let's just add those two writings as well. We can say best site ever, and over here we'll say hello world. Save this, come back to index.html, refresh this, and you see that happen. Best site ever, the image, then hello world. Okay? So that's a quick tutorial on setting up HTML and your project folder. In the next one, we'll talk a little bit more about HTML basics, CSS, what CSS is, and what JavaScript is.